here we are, spawning in the bottom left. In the blue for Alpha X. Give it up for ZOUN. And his opponent in the upper right. In the red, formerly of Jin Air. Now the teamless Taiwanese Zerg. He is Rex. Oh. I thought I removed that. I did not. I only talked about it. Yeah, there we go. Size matters. He has summoned it. Prediction has started here. I think the big prediction is how many Void Rays will we see in this series. Granted, ZOUN is not exact. ZOUN has a lot of different builds, so we're not necessarily going to see him go and do just double Stargate Void Ray every game, even if that is the most powerful, probably the most powerful Protoss style at the moment. ZOUN, he's got his own stuff. He has been such an innovator of PvZ styles over the last year. And we're going to have to see where he goes with things. And yeah, you're right. ZOUN looks so damn good right now. He came in second place in the GSL Super Tournament, narrowly losing to Trap, who absolutely looks just best player, probably even best player in the world right now. Is ZOUN, is he playing in Katowice? Did he qualify? I don't remember. ZOUN, oh man, despite going second, he just didn't get quite close enough. So ZOUN is not in Katowice. That is so disappointing. Oh man. Yeah, that makes sense. It's just, it's unfortunate here. Is well, we should probably talk about the game a little bit, because we do have a Stargate on the way. And here is the interesting thing. This is the trap build that ZOUN is going for here. Because this is a warp gate into Stargate, which is really annoying, by the way, as a Zerg player. Because the way you scout Stargate, Mas del Tiempo, is you say, hey, look, I see that it's 220 odd, and the warp gate's not exactly researching. It's not going to be a Stargate, but a lot of these players, a lot of Protoss players have started going and say, okay, well, I'm just going to build my warp gate first, which means I can take a really quick third base. I can get into +1 faster if I need to, and I'm going to go from there. So it's a pretty cool build variant that we've seen players like Trap really start to do. Now, this will get scouted, but I mean, you're not really trying to hide this. I mean, maybe early on, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna get scouted anyways. Void Rays will go on and kill off all the Overlords, and that's what happens with that. I like to I mean, I think I have it right. ZOUN. Unless you're saying my my emphasis is on the wrong syllable, but I do try. Alright, actually, it looks like this Adept actually getting 3 workers here. Well, maybe there's one Adept elsewhere, because it only had 2 kills. Anyway, now we do have the Void Ray. It's going to try to fly across the map. Maybe get a couple more workers here. I mean, it's 1 Void Ray. I don't have... Oh, it actually... Okay, never mind. 2 workers will go down, and it should be able to escape with just taking half of its damage and health. Now there's now there's an Oracle on the map, so let's see. 5 workers have died already. Now we have a Spore on the way. Now with these 2 Queens here, this Oracle probably shouldn't get a whole lot done, but actually he's going to catch it in right when the Queen is building a Creep Tumor, so that means another worker will go down. And there we go, second Stargate. This just in. Queens are good units, that is true. And ZOUN, he's getting a lot of damage done here. 6 workers have died for 2 Adepts. And that is actually really significant damage. Especially when 3 of these were from a Void Ray. But now it's double Stargate Void Ray, which means coming soon to a theater near you, we will have... okay, actually, Overlords are going to die as well. And now, okay, there we go. Stasis Trap. Oh, man. Jones just everywhere now. Nice pull there from Rex. He will not fall victim to this. But anyway, double Stargate Void Ray, which means we will have a Charge Lots on the way soon. We will have Storm, Archons, all those good things. And, yeah, that's where we're going. Poor Size Matters. Size Matters, if you wanna say something about me. Oh wait, let me can I click that link? I can still click that link. Yeah, I was familiar with that graphic. I had seen that. So for those of you wondering what Size Matters had posted, it's actually on the Alphax Twitter deep back in there, but it's just a graphic about this is where ZOUN gets his name from. And this is how it's pronounced. But now, of course, we have 3 spores in the main base. But hey, you know what? Spores, they die. Spores are armored units. They die pretty damn fast. The queens are going to get targeted down as well. Look at this. Look at this positioning. Actually, that means the Void Rays are just going to be able to kill this off. Queens are not in position. As this Oracle trying to get something done. Actually, gets a couple more workers. And now, Void Rays, they're dominant. He's not going to get the lair, is he? No, there's no way he gets the lair. Yeah, okay, so Void Rays will be able to get on out, but a couple more workers go down. And this is just ZOUN showing dominance in this game. Number 1. Void Rays, they are powerful things. OMG Void Rays, where you've been my entire life. Well, if you've seen any PvZ over the last month, there have been plenty of them. This is not Balance Wine, this is just... I don't know, I'm not a big fan of these games. They go late, and it feels like either the Zerg all-ins and maybe wins, or they lose later on. Now, the Zergs will eventually figure out a way to deal with this. And actually, we've seen a lot of interesting Spire play coming on in from Zerg, from players like Raynor over the last week or two. But I think in this game, we're just going to see a Hydra Queen bust. We're at 8 Queens. Hydras are now on the way. The 4th base, of course, was killed. And actually, the lair took a decent amount of damage. So that becomes a little bit problematic because ZOUN, he has Disruptors on the way. 8 Gates on the way. Charge is about halfway done. And he's going to have Zealot Archon charge. Your MBC? Oh, Mothership Core. Okay. I mean, I don't either. I don't really miss that, but given the option between a Mothership Core and double Stargate Void Ray, just kind of turtle sky toss, I'll take the former. So, anyway, yeah. I mean, again, this is not me saying ZOUN, you're playing the game wrong or anything like that. Saying players are bad. No, this is the best way to play PvZ right now. I just miss the days where there's a little bit more variability in the matchup. Or more importantly, I'm just not a big fan of this style because it feels very binary. It feels like either the Zerg is able to get the all-in appropriately, is able to kill the Protoss player before they get back into carriers, or the Zerg player just loses in another 15 minutes. And again, yes, are there ways to deal with this? Yes. Is that absolutely true? No, but it just feels like a very binary game where you just see the Zerg all in for something. And if they don't work, they lose, and they just feel forced into this all-in. First time you get Hydras in recent... No, but there have always been a lot of Hydras in PvZ. Hydralink Bane has been one of the viable styles in ZVP for quite a while. So, I mean, Cyril rode that to his most recent DreamHack Masters championship. Butter. I love that. Oh man, I love that indeed. I'm just hoping we see some meta evolution here for Katowice, and a lot of the reason we're just seeing the same styles right now is because players are, well, they don't want to show the new stuff yet because Katowice is coming up this weekend. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to new maps. A big reason we're seeing this Void Ray meta right here is it's so easy to get 3 or 4. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Booty Mage. I am very excited to see the new maps because I think a big reason we're seeing this double Stargate Void Ray meta is because of how easy it is to get to 4 bases on a lot of these maps. Now, the reason I chose Pillars of Gold is because it is probably one of the more difficult maps to get 4 bases on. It's not impossible, as we've seen ZOUN get here with flying colors, but it's not the easiest. And I do like this from X. This is something we've seen more and more a bit of here, as now he's going on into Infestors behind this. We should see Neural come on after this, and that's one way to deal with this. Oh, well, Disruptors. I mean, Sated, this is true, but we do have, like, there's about 3 or 4 Terran openers right now, and more importantly, the game is not binary in the mid-game. It's not just, do I win with the Ellen, or does my opponent get to late game and I lose? TVZ is interesting because it is an ebb and flow. It's a back and forth, and yes, it's bio a lot, but that is an interesting style to watch, and it is dynamic all over to the other side of the map. But anyway. Wait, that's not real MC in the chat, is it? Oh, never mind. That's just someone saying MC knew how to interview OGS MGL. You got me all excited there. Now the Zealot run by will not get a whole lot. And your Rex, he's in a pretty decent position here, and I do like this. He's going on into Ultras to try to deal with the ground army. And this is a cool style that we've seen a lot of players go, a lot of Zergs go for recently, where you get Ultras not because they're going to do a lot of damage. I mean, they may well be, but they're not going to have a lot of upgrades, not a lot of Carapace upgrades, but you get them so they can get on top of the High Templar and go to town. That being said, though, Ultras are terrible. I have objectively terrible against the amount of static D that's happening here. They're objectively terrible against Void Rays, against Archons, and this army is, well, it's not an army that Ultras fight all that well, so Rex is going for Broodlords behind this, and the army as it stands is not terrible against it. That being said, carriers are on the way. We do have a Fleet Bacon is now done. Well, of course, because carriers are on the way. Plus 2 air attack is on the way here. Observer speed, all that jazz. Wait, is this observer speed or is this or prism speed? Oh, it's difficult to tell the difference. Now these banelings are run by is not going to get a whole lot done. Well, you know what? At the very least, Invictus Rage, we have Raynor, and we have Innovation calling every other race Imbo when he's winning every event. Roll Thunder, not quite. That's just this style, right? When you go 2 Stargate Void Ray, it is very difficult for the Zerg to break the third base because they just get a lot of static DP, and you have 8 Void Rays, which are actually really powerful even against like Queens and things. Okay, the Baneling run by is not going to get a whole lot done. Anyway, so that means the Zerg is just forced to expand, and that means the Protoss gets to expand, and that's one of the reasons that, you know, you see so many people complaining about this style. Because you sit here for 15 minutes, and well, But now ZOUN, he has his 5 bases. He has carriers on the way. We have Tempest upgrades on the way here as he rounds out his tech path. And now for the first time in this game, he is maxed out. He says, okay, now I can get a little bit aggressive. Now, do we have Storm? We actually don't have Storm. And that is one of the things that makes this style so powerful is Carrier Storm. But with the Disruptors, maybe that's going to be enough here. Disruptor shots are going to be okay. Disruptor's going to be dynamic here. Now, I do like this. We do have really nice fungal parasitic bomb combos. But ZOUN, he's getting good splits off, and he's sitting here, doubling the supply of his opponent. And, yep, there we go, GG. Not to be a Debbie Downer, but the army of ZOUN has not died. The army of Rex has. And we're going to see 15 more Hydras on the way, but everything that ZOUN lost, he can easily replace. He's at a 50 supply lead. The rest of the bank of Rex has been spent. We have a run by on this left-hand side. GG. Rex, he's lost this game. It may take a little bit longer for him to lose, but there we go. And that was with Fungal Parasitic Bomb. But unfortunately, the Fungal Parasitic Bomb was not early enough, and the Disruptors got the shots they were looking for. So now we have to actually, this is pretty cool. Disruptors instead of Storms do mean that you're able to push on in a little bit easier. But oh, we're going to see a recall. Okay. Now the one Immortal will go down. That's going to be a nice trade for Rex. So Void Rays can handle the Queens, is the thing. They're not good, but they're not terrible, and especially what we see a lot of players like Trap do, is they delay their third base a little, and then they go for +1 air. And suddenly, because of how quick Void Rays attack, they actually do rather well. +1 Disruptors as a result of this is actually, this is something I have not seen in this style. Now, maybe I'm just not watching the correct games, but this is actually, generally we've seen Charge Lot, Archon, Storm as the kind of quick follow-up here. Yeah, bring back Infested Terrans would... I don't know. Skytoss's late game transition is a thing, but I feel like when you see Skytoss early, it just makes the game kind of uninteractive. But anyway, Now we do have ZOUN trying to get on the right-hand side. Most of the static D is here, but there is no army to defend it, which means we'll all go down. And we're going to have to see some good parasitic bombs. One fungal going down immediately. That's not going to be enough. Now Disruptor Shots are going to get on top of all of these Hydras as long as they can get enough to get some nice trades. And there we go. The base goes down. Fungals are going to be there, but it's not really going to be enough. This one Immortal's not exactly doing what it wants to do. And there we go. Another base goes down. ZOUN has the bank. Rex does not. I do not watch enough ZOUN games to tell you whether ZOUN gets the Void Ray speed upgrade. Now, this is one thing to point out here is Rex, he is doing what he can to try to make this happen, and one of the things you have to do when you're trying to deal with the styles, you need to get vision on the Protoss army, so you can get abducts, so you can get parasitic bombs, which you're looking for. And so he's sending in just masses and masses of changelings to get on top of this Protoss army, do what he can. But, I mean, of course, ZOUN, he sees all this, he's targeting it all down, and now, look, this is +3 Sky Toss, 3-1 Sky Toss. And Tempests are on the way. So yes, Broodlords are going to show up. But there are Tempests. And there are not a lot of Queens on the map here. Only 3 Queens. So it's not a lot of Transfuses. As now we have this, just this War Prism sitting here. I don't believe he... Yeah, he sees the base. He can kill that whenever he wishes. But not yet. I guess he's going to wait for an actual engagement to happen. Oh, no. In terms of dominant styles, I mean, yeah, Wings of Liberty Infestors were so much better. Even if maybe we saw more Infestors in Heart of the Swarm, that was mainly because people realized a little bit too late in the Wings of Liberty, but I mean, the Wings of Liberty Infestors were just bonkers. Disruptor! Okay. But, I mean, I like this. Look at this. The Disruptor, it's just zoning, right? The whole goal here is to go and make it so the army cannot engage. Now, we do have these Broodlords on the right-hand side here, but this is just so many cannon shield batteries. These will be able to hold for quite a while. Now the engagement happening here. Now, one Disruptor will not be caught in the recall, but now the Broodlords have to be very careful because the army of ZOUN has recalled to the right-hand side. Now, that's a lot of static D, but one Broodlord goes down. Immediately, Disruptors are going to just look to kill off all of this, all of the static defense. But now we have this push, and more Broodlords are on the way, but I mean, there are enough Tempests here, and there's just not a lot of anti-air. Now, the Disruptors need to be careful, they're just going to run forward, and this is where Storm becomes a little impactful, because it's not that Corruptors are objectively terrible. As, oh, we have a Fungal Parasitic Bomb combo, can he chain it? Looks like, oh, Parasitic Bombs are actually just on top of the entire Skytoss army, but it's not going to matter, as it looks like Runby's on the right-hand side, we were missed. GG, Rex, he's going to tap out. There we go. Yeah, no, Broodlord Infestor area was absolutely, yeah, Broodlord. Broodlord Infestor meta was absolutely late Wings of Liberty. That was... Arguably, that was what kind of killed the momentum of StarCraft, when you had players like, you know, Sniper winning the GSL. Yeah, you know, I actually kind of enjoyed the Swarm Host meta. I thought it was, like, when we actually start Protoss players being able to fight back against it, but I also acknowledge my bias because I play Zerg. And I enjoyed playing that style, which probably makes me terrible. But anyway, we got a Stream Raiders battle, so let's go do that. Oh. Alright, so we're gonna do this. Alright, what do we got? Everything's dying. Everything's dying! This one rogue is just eating everything. Easy game, easy life. There we go. Which way do we go, friends? Alright. Here we... Oh, yeah, let's go to the hidden thing. Let's do that. Ah. Look at that. Look at that, come on. Look at Estrella's face. Look at Estrella's face there. Yeah, it was Mana Fire Cake that lasted 3 hours. But here we are. We're spawning into Game 2. We'll be Romanticide as Rex chooses the Void Ray map of all Void Ray maps. And in the upper left, in the blue, he's representing Alpha X. Give it up for ZOUN. And his opponent in the bottom right in the red. He is representing himself and himself alone from Taiwan with love. He's Rex. Yeah, you know, I remember the, I want to say it was on Deathwing, maybe? That when you had Snoot versus, I want to say it was Stats, maybe? Used some epic late game PVZs that was Stormhost meta. And yeah, I understand that Stormhosts were broken and they needed to go away. That being said, though, they were pretty much the only way Zerg could deal with mech in Wings of, or in Heart of the Swarm. So once they were removed, it felt... I mean, you remember Beal crying because he couldn't break Innovation's mech on just with how good for mech those maps were. So the change they made to Stormhost, yeah, it was necessary, but Zerg, it took until Legacy of the Void for Zerg to have something that they could deal with that mech, and then it made Terran mech just really overpowered towards the end of Heart of the Swarm. So, used to be Swarm hosts were free units. You would, every time you burrowed them, every 45 seconds, they would send 3 locusts in a rally wherever you rallied them to, and it was just continuously spawning. I don't know, maybe it was every 30 seconds. I forget what the timer was, but it was just continuous free units running across the map. The change now, where they're at now, is they swarm 3 flying locusts that are incredibly powerful. But they only come off cooldown every, I want to say 45, 50 seconds, something like that. So there is a significant downtime where they can be punished. They're worth more supply now. And they are not just this continuous oppressive pressure that the Protoss has to continuously fight or they lose the game. So it was absolutely kind of a broken tech path. Very much so. But, again, it was something that the Zergs kind of needed to deal with Terran mech at the highest level. But anyway, once again, Warp Gate into Stargate is the play for ZOUN because it's Romanticide. And this is the Stargate map. This is the double Stargate warp. This is the double Stargate map if there ever was one. This is kind of where you first started seeing it because the third base is free. Well, I don't know. Romanticide and Death Aura are the kind of the two. But... anyways. Yes, this was before Ravagers. Stormhosts were changed about 6 months, I believe, before Legacy of the Void dropped. So if you actually go and want to play a Heart of the Swarm map, you will not be able to use the old Swarmhosts. They will just be the Swarmhosts as they exist in Legacy of the Void. Ravagers were added in Legacy of the Void, specifically to deal with force fields. Because we all remember the days of the Soul Train meta. That was just really hard to deal with if the force fields were good enough. Warhounds were broken. What were they? The all right, there we go. 350 third base coming on. Oh, ZOUN, he's a little bit late. 353 ZOUN. What are you doing? But anyway, what was it? The Herc. The Herc was also disgusting. Splash melee units that yeah, Warhounds were Heart of the Swarm beta, but the Hercs were they splash melee units that would hook onto the opponent and just annihilate everything. I think they did bonus damage to light too. They would just eviscerate mineral lines. It was just ludicrous when we saw them in those the beta show matches. It was just absolutely ridiculous. So very glad that did not find its way on into the actual release. Now with this border, we can look to try to do some damage here. Hey, it's going to get a Overlord. Yeah, it's funny, the units the Zergs and the Protoss get, they tend to be balanceable, I guess, and added in the expansions. They tend to be manageable. And then they just add random stuff for the Terrans at every expansion. They're like, wait a minute here, this is broken as hell. Let's fix this. Charge Ultras... Burrow Charge Ultras were, I think, a thing, and... I think they were briefly a thing. I forget. But now, of course, we have some semblance of that with Ultra Speed being a tech path. But as the Zergling's going to try to maybe get some scouting on in here. But we all know what's happening. Actually, we don't. We don't know what's happening because look at this. ZOUN, he has opened up the Stargate build, but look at this. We have more gateways on the way, but it is Glaives. We're going to see 6-gate Zealot Glaives. Will be the tech path of choice here for ZOUN as he is mixing it up in game number 2, and this is actually really cool. So there was a style when the Void Ray Change first released, where you kind of had something like this, but it was in fact a charge lot all in with 2 Void Rays, and we were seeing something similar to that. Rex, he has been caught sleeping here. He has 3 roaches on the map. Yes, there are 7 queens, and they can do something, but there are, in fact, this is 8-gate Adept coming on into the base here. And this is 4 Void Rays, which means the queens, they're not going to be able to fight all that well, especially with the Zealots, or excuse me, with the Adepts on top of them. So all the queens are going to go down, and as soon as the queens go down, and it's only 3 of them left. Bears in mind, only 3 of them left, only 2 of them left. The Void Rays are just going to be dominant. More and more Adepts going on in here. Rex caught with his pants down, and ZOUN, he's just going to take this game, I think. The Void Rays, they are undefendable. They're absolutely undefendable in this game, as ZOUN, he only took 3 gas. There we go. The Hydra Den's going to go down as well. 7 more Adepts on the way. This base is going to go down. And this is just not enough roaches to fight this. Not with the Void Rays sitting on top of it. Where'd the Adepts go? Okay, they're in the main base. Now going to keep killing more and more stuff, and there's just not enough critical mass here because the Void Rays are just so freaking strong. Now, you don't want to lose them to a Spore. Okay, yeah, 2 Void Rays will be able to kill the Spore. So Void Rays just doing damage to the third base. Adepts into the natural. Adept Printer go brrr, brrr. And here we go. 23, 24 workers have gone down. Adepts on into the third base. The third base will go down. Adepts going on into the main base. There's just not enough to defend. There's just nothing mining here whatsoever. 38 workers here for Rex, and ZOUN, even if he loses everything at this point, he is going to be in a wonderful position as we do have double Robo Immortal coming on in. This is such a cool build from ZOUN. It's doing such a good job of playing to the meta, or playing against the meta, I should say. The third base does go down. Now we have Void Rays going in to get the fourth base. GG ZOUN. He's going to take game 2. What a build. That's a ZOUN build right there. That is what we've come to expect from our Alpha X Protoss player. That was actually a really cool build from Lightshade will be our map. Yeah, that was actually a really cool build from that was a really cool build we saw from ZOUN there. really just doing a good job of playing against the meta. Because the standard there, when you go Stargate, Warp Gate into Stargate, when you get your third base at 353, 350, that's double Stargate Void Ray. Every time, but no. It was only a single Stargate. It was Glaive Adepts off of 8 gateways. And that wasn't, I mean, yes. Was it only off of 3 gases? Yes. Did ZOUN cut some probes to make that happen? Yes, but it was a timing more than it was an all-in. And as long as ZOUN got some damage done, he was going to be in a wonderful position regardless. So pretty cool build. And now we are into our third game in this series. Someone said they don't think Rex is going to take a map. Well, this is Rex's time to prove that wrong, as we're going to get on in to game number 3. Seriously, it's ZOUN, or ZOUN. I'm just plenty of people in chat can give you the entire history of it. But here we are, spawning in the bottom right in the red for himself and himself alone. His back against the wall here. Give it up for Rex. And his opponent in the upper left, in the blue, the defunct music player from Microsoft, also representing Alpha X, is ZOUN. Or ZOUN, if we're, I guess the only music that ZOUN plays is the music of victory. The music of playing his opponent like a fiddle. Because that's exactly what happened here. No, Microsoft made a music player for a while, and it was called the ZOUN, the Microsoft ZOUN. And it was actually fairly, from what I'm told, it was fairly good. I never had one. But I see a lot of people talking about how they miss it. So apparently it was pretty good. It just never got the market penetration that it was looking to get. And that's just how things happen sometimes. You know, when you don't get the market penetration, it does not really work out well for you. And there was no great, not a great sunrise. I'm kind of sad. I've been looking at my window because, you know, when you're up this early in the morning, you kind of hope to get a good sunrise out of it at the very least. But it's just an overcast day, so it just kind of slowly became light. On the flip side, though, we might get some actual decent snow. We got just 7 inches of ice on Tuesday, something like that. Like all the snowpack that we've got up here now is just, you need a sledgehammer to move it. It's pretty painful. I have a friend that forgot to dig their car out on the proper day, and then they so they had to go borrow a sledgehammer to get their car out because it's just pure ice. But anyway, ZOUN, he's going for a different little bit of tech here. In this game number 3. He's shown Stargate 2 games in a row, but now I predict we're going to see some adepts. I mean, we already have 1 adept on the map, but a more significant amount of adepts. We may see some disruptors, because that is the ZOUN disruptor build. There we go, Robo on the way, but we're going to have to see whether this is just 4-gate Adept Printer, or whether we're going to see that Disruptor follow-up, which I do like a lot more, but the question is whether Zergs have kind of learned to deal with it at this point. And there we go. Glaives are on the way. The question, though, is whether Rex is going to be privy to this. Now, he does know that this is not Stargate because we're at 3 minutes and 30 seconds into this game, and the Overlord is still alive, and that should be a bit of a tell in and of itself. So now we're just going to start pronouncing ZOUN as Chaoyin, and well, and that's just going to really confuse people. But anyway, Glaives are just about they're going to be done by 4:30 that time. We have the Warp Prism is done. And what we're looking here is, will we see a Robo Bay as well? Will we see that come on up here? But there we go. 4 Adepts in the Warp Prism going to find their way across the map. And this has not been scouted, by the way. I don't believe the Overlord had... Yeah, the Overlord did not have vision of that. So the first time that Rex will actually have solid confirmation. Yeah, he's the Alpha X player. He's just Sean. Okay. But anyway, the first time that Rex will have confirmation of this is when he sees the Adepts finding their way in. But, you know, he was aware of this. Roaches are already on the way. We do have a Spine at this third base, but a Queen's going to get targeted down. That's going to be rather nice. 1 Queen for 1 Adept. And the Adepts now, they found the wall here, and yes, there are some Zerglings doing this around, but Zerglings died of this really quickly. So now Roaches, they're going to do what they can, but it's not enough Roaches to fight this straight up. Yeah, Joan's name is pronounced Bertrand Cummerbund. But here we go. Now the Adepts are getting far more damage than they would ever expect to do so. Gonna find their way on into the natural. 10-11 workers do go down. And now, hey, this Warp Prism, yeah, it's starting to get removed a little, but okay, we're just gonna see some drops in the main base. Another Warpin coming on. It is 1 Queen that is going to try to kill this off. The Warp Prism should be able to stay alive. There we go. And the Queen's just gonna get targeted down. No one. Okay, now Adepts moving on into the natural where there is no defense, not yet. And there we go. Not quite into the mineral line though, so drones will survive for the moment. And now we have Immortals on the way. This is just the Katowice build. This is the default build that Zest got to the Katowice finals with. Where did the Adepts go back into the main base? Okay, where you just do ludicrous amounts of damage, and then you hit across the map with more Adepts and Immortals later on. No, Rex is absolutely pro level. He was signed for. Absolutely. Joan's name is pronounced. Use your Twitch Prime Gaming on the Alpha X channel. Yes, if you go to the Matcherino link, !Matcherino, you can buy the link there. I believe you can also get all, I believe you can buy all replay packs that are released for all the games if you support Alpha X on Patreon. You got to spell Matcherino correctly. There we go. Yeah, so Zest, you know, he got to Katowice Grand Finals last year off of this Adept build where he just hit with a really strong Immortal Sentry timing afterwards, but actually no. Joan, he's going to take a third base. He has Immortals here. He's going to get Blink behind this. He's going into a more macro game behind this, and I really do think that Joan could have just, you know, gotten 3 Immortals, gotten a bunch of Sentries, and gone across the map and ended the game. But, you know, this is also a valid style, of course. As the great Daynan, or maybe it was Artosis, someone once said, win ahead, get more ahead, and that's exactly what Joan's doing. We do have the third base just about done. He's had 6 workers on his opponents. Adepts will try to shade on in, and luckily we do not see Rex falling to that wonderful aphorism of Adept play, where it's not the first 4 Adepts that do the damage, it's the last 2 that go in with a Warp Prism and suddenly get 10 workers. Yep. Sushi's got it right. Alright, yep, there we go. 2 Adepts, 2 more workers do go down. And they're just going to shade on into the main base. More workers, and we're just going to see workers get targeted. This is depressing. This just makes me a little bit sad for Rex here. It's 8-9. Yep, there we go. That is the Adept aphorism. And yes, a bunch of, like, 20-odd workers died before then. But even then, there was 2 Adepts getting on at the end of the day. Getting as much done as, like, the 14 Adepts that were killed off earlier on. Yeah, this is explicit content. This is not safe for Zerg. NSFZ is the game that is happening here. Now, Rex, he's going to try to hit a timing, but it's never a good situation. Yeah, those Adepts were quite adept at what they did. It's never a good situation when you are the Zerg trying to go all, or either trying to go all in, or trying to defend the Protoss all in, and you're a down 10 army, 10 supply. Oh, there we go. Now we have the Immortal Sentry timing coming on in there. Joan just wanted to put himself in a little bit better of a position, and maybe do have some Blink Stalkers just to make this army a little bit better. But there we go. We have Stalkers getting warped on in here. 65 army supply to 59. Yeah, they're oh, this is a nice surround. If he can get on top of all of these sentries, maybe he can do something, but not even 1 sentry goes down. The Biles will land it. The Immortals will be heavily damaged, but 20 army supply differential at this point. The Spine will get targeted down. Of course, Stalkers do a wonderful job at fighting that. We're seeing more and more Stalkers here. This is really just a Blink Stalker sentry all in with a couple Immortals trying to defend. We're going to see the Stalkers blink on top of things. There we go. Stalkers blinking on top of all of the Ravagers. Stalkers, nothing left. GG, ZOUN. Joan. He's going to move on to face Patience in the finals.